Website compliance. There are three regulations that are most commonly cited whenever you're talking about website compliance, and those are most commonly the ADA regulations, 508 compliance, and WCAG 2.0. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the ADA accommodations and how they come to play in the world of the web. For those of you who aren't familiar, the ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act of, I don't even remember what year it was actually put in, but we'll layer that in below. And what it was built for was primarily physical accommodations. So you'd usually see this in retail locations with ramps, elevators, things that would allow people that are handicapped, especially those in wheelchairs, to still access the store, to be able to get around, access different floors and levels. Those rules and regulations were created before the web was quite popular, and some people have attempted to take the spirit of that regulation into the web. And what you can look at there is, again, trying to create the same level of accommodation and accessibility for, in this case, mostly visually disabled users to be able to interact with the website. To be able to do that, the first thing you need to understand is the fact that you and I may use a browser because we are able to see, and so you might use a browser that has a visual interaction. So you're moving your mouse around, you're clicking on things. Those that are visually disabled use something called a screen reader, and it literally reads the website out loud to them. And so you can imagine if it's just reading out a menu and then the header and then the text without much context as to what goes where and how this overall design affects the site itself and the layering of the content, it can be really, really confusing, especially if you then need to navigate through that website. If you're attempting to buy a product, to download something, it can become very much a hassle to be able to go through and do those things without the benefit of vision. And so these screen readers will read these websites out loud, and there are a couple of things you can do to make it easier for your users, especially those using a screen reader. There are a couple of basics, and of course we'll link to those down below, so you're able to also copy and paste those or just check back against it. But some of the most common things are going to be creating something called alt tags. These are usually ALT tags, and what they do is they take any media object, it could be a video, image, animated GIF, whatever the case might be, and describes it to a screen reader. So if somebody is looking at it and they can't actually see it, it will tell them what it is. This is important for graphic elements, like I said, but it's also very, very important for buttons, any kind of links, banners, anything that moves somebody forward in engaging with your website. Because if you don't use those alt tags, they're not going to know what that button is. They're not going to know that they can click it to purchase something, to contact you, to begin to interact with you. And those are going to be just the real quick basics that you need to take care of to make sure that you're at least operating within the spirit of the ADA regulations.